Hi everybody, I'm David and this is All Things Sacred. So we're going over the Earth suit, the final of the four suits. I wanted to just touch base again on the Ace, the 2, and the 3, and a little on the 4 and the 5 again. Just very briefly, I just had this greater realization that talking about the Ace, the 2, and the 3 as existing as causal forms from the causal realm doesn't only imply that just the things I talked about. It is true. Those are. I mean, I did a whole video on it, so that's a lot more than what I'm going to say right now. Because a very simple way of thinking about it as causal forms, the ace would represent consciousness. As you know, that's truly what is eternal. I did mention that aspect of it. But then the constant changing flow of things is time, obviously. Consciousness manifests throughout and as time, and space, which is the form that it creates, the building blocks. So the ace, the 2, and the 3 of discs could then be seen as consciousness, time, and space, which go on to manifest the creation in its early forms here in the astral realm in the number 4. And then the 4 and the 5, why I wanted to mention them as well, is because what we have here in existence, unlike the unitary existence that is found through the realization of any of the suits truly, but through the experience of something like the water suit or even the fire suit. Those two focusing more the sense of self in the fire suit and the sense of becoming one through love constantly in the water suit. The earth suit is more so about duality because that's what our external nature is all about. We have an internal truth, which is us, and we exist in a world of externals. And so everything in the nature of this world has to do with duality. So you have this sense of comfort and safety on the one hand that actually arises from having a place, but then the worry that comes right alongside with it because of a need for it, of a falling into it. And we'll see that duality is a theme presented between the two cards along the way down till we get to the 9, and then the 10 could be the dual nature of the 1. So the next part that we have after this worry, which is fairly insignificant, we get to the 6 where we connect back to the middle pillar. The worry actually causes us to have some form of caution, some recognition that there are dangers in this world. That it's not just a perfect place. That the mixture of these elements makes for many things. Some of those things that can end up being harmful to us. And so learning this, we really apply the lessons. That is a very good aspect of the Earth suit, is really learning the practical lessons and how to apply them and how to use this to further advance our progress back to the divine once we realize our purpose for being here. And so we get success. Now that we understand the rules a little bit better, we get the game that we're playing a little bit, we put into it our own effort, we apply our own mind, our own thoughts, our own actions, and we actually start to care about it. We realize that we have to do some of the work to get back the result. And this is perfect. Recognizing our part in this play, not that, that nature should always support us, as, we can see this part as, we're a little bit more grown up now, we've matured a little bit, excuse me, and we're able to get back what we put in, where we reap seeds and we sow back goodness here. This is a very bright card, a lot brighter than the last one, and a lot brighter than the next one that comes. But as I talked about in the 2 especially, and just now talking about the nature of duality, when we grab for something that's good, when we see the success in our mind and our emotions, and it drives us to reach for it, it inherently brings with it its opposite. That's how everything is in this world. When we're attached to things, they bring with them their negative aspects. If we allow things to come negative or positive without thinking, oh, I should try to achieve this success and try to run away from this failure, no, it's let them come as they will. And the failure card, I just want to bring it up now because there's, it's the reverse side of success. The success is good things coming your way. This is brightness. This is the earth suit showing a connection to very good things. And this has no light in it. This is the Earth suit stagnant, unmoving, and dying. All the crops have decayed, and you need to plant a new field. Essentially, we saw this same parallel in the 4 and the 5 of it being the positive quality first, and then the negative quality to follow, because one hasn't. One needs to have the lesson ahead of time. If one can get this lesson before it shows itself in this fashion, as we'll see soon, then there can be a lot better results from that grow from it, because you're like, I'm going to take the bad first. I'm going to let myself endure this little bit of difficulty now so that I can reap greater reward later. But as we're descending, that's not how it appears, because we're still learning. And when we just learn that we should put in a little bit of work, we get a lot back, and we're very excited about it. This is a very great and grand and exciting card, because it means that we're reaping the fruit of what it is that we thought we put our effort into something that we wanted to do, and we're reaping the fruit of that, and it's a great feeling. And so this comes like a shock. This card also doesn't have a lot of power once you realize that sometimes, when negative things happen, when you're stopped in your tracks, that it's a good time for reflection. It's a good time to think about, well, maybe I have to, maybe be a little more practical, or change my methods or techniques, and try again. But some people can see this card before you overcome it, for a major time, and see this card and really just see nothing good from it, and really get low about it, and really move more and more slowly. And this can be a long card to pass through, not necessarily the most difficult of cards, because it's just kind of a feeling of lack, of just physical lack. This is the essence of physical lack, and this is the opposite of feeling like you have what you need. And that's the process that is presented here as we go through these dualities of the good and the bad, the good and the bad. You wouldn't say that right about time and space. Those are just two different aspects of the cosmos. And then we get these two pairs of positive quality and the negative reaction to that quality. And by this time, so far down the tree of life, coming to the 8, we've by now learned that, especially with 8 being the seat of Mercury, the mind has recognized by this time. It's like, wait a minute. Like I said, if I put in that work now, if every good thing comes hand in hand with a bad thing, or if every pleasurable thing comes hand in hand with a discomforting thing, rather, then maybe if I do the discomforting thing from the get-go, then the pleasurable thing will be what I'm left with in the end, instead of being left with this failure or this worry. And so we try this. And the trying of this is found in the 8 of Discs, the card of Prudence. Now this tree it's not fully grown, it's blossoming, it's starting to blossom. I mean, there are flowers on it, but its leaves are still curled up. It's the work that we put in, the hard, steady, and enduring work that we put in, because the Earth suit really is the slowest moving of the cards. The Fire suit we go through very quickly. We stay in the 9 for a long time, and really hold that forever, truly. But the Earth suit, some of these cards, like, you could remove really slowly through the 7 after having spent so long in the 6, and in the 4 we get to really become homebodies for a little while before we shake up and go out into the world. And here in the 8, this is probably the longest, the most effort and expecting the longest amount of time. We realize that we want the reward too quickly, and so this very practical lesson of prudence is to say that don't expect the results right away. Put in the work, put in the effort, and keep at it. And keep at it. Keep watering that, with your positive emotions. Keep allowing air in your life to breathe through intellectual and creative pursuits. Keep reigniting your fire through good actions so that you have a healthy and sustainable body, earth, element, ego, consciousness, so that you're working towards something that will be long lasting, not just a small bed of, annual flowers, but rather a perennial tree that exists all time. and even an evergreen, whatever it is that you want, or something that bears fruit, so that you can have more forever and be able to share it with many. The prudence card is a very difficult lesson for people in our society because we want instant gratification, and this is the card that denies us that. It says, no, I need to save that money. I need to invest in things so that in myself, so that I can become what I want to be. This isn't only about finances, although I mention that a lot because that is the nature of the earth suit. The discs, it's like a coin. But this is really, investing in ourselves. It's like, no, I'm not gonna go out tonight, even though my friends have offered to, pay for everything, and it's all on them. What does that matter? I need to sit here and I need to meditate. I need to sit here and I need to take care of myself in the spiritual way. I don't need, there's a lot about self-care, which is really good, but some of it ends up sounding like laziness. This isn't the idea of laziness. We don't just need to sit at home and watch movies and stuff. That's not good for our mind. That's not good for our spirit. That's not good for our connection to our true self. We're investing in these things external. There's two parts of the path. There's two phases that an individual goes through. The first kind of being the sadhana, the spiritual effort, the spiritual practices a person does. And when one is in that phase, then they need to focus all their time on devotion and on meditation and on doing the work. They need to be sincere about trying to achieve these great and vast goals, because to half-heartedly strive after them is to show that you don't even believe that they're worth it. But after a person has achieved realization and seen the divine and recognizes it at all times, the life becomes a little more lax in that, there's no need to practice as vehemently or ardently, because you can recognize you already have the results from it. Before you go in, you're already seeing God as you go in. You're already seeing the divine. And it's more easy to see the divine in mundane things and in more common interactions. But that's after the work is done. And so this is the card of the sadhaka. This is the card of the aspirant. This is the card of the person who is sincere about striving to achieve their truest ends, which is self-realization. And someone who puts in this effort, they were right. That thought that they had, that if I do the hard stuff now, if I put in the effort now, get that discomforting thing out of the way, then maybe I'll be left with greater reward, that I'll be, a better taste will be left in my mouth, so to say, at the end of all this. And the Nine of Discs shows that they were right. Applying the practical wisdom, the practical knowledge of the Earth suit found on the way to the Eight, and really believing in it and really working at it, shows that a person has ripened to the point where they will gain all that it is that they're seeking. This then is the Nine, which is the seat of our constant continual action, like the Nine in the Wand suit is the strength. That strength card is the tension that we need to hold. We need to continue our actions. And as a reflection of that, if we're able to, use that action to access our dharma and the dharma of the world, of the cosmos, then we will gain the fruit of that continuously. That as we do good actions, we will gain good results. This is the card of gain. You can see it's very expansive. This earth suit is never ending. You realize that you have so much at your disposal when you start to work with nature, when you start to work with the energies of the natural world. You become a friend of the Divine Mother. You become a friend of Mother Nature, and Mother Nature supports you more and more because you're a beloved child of hers, as we all are, but one who offers her due honor and respect, and, pays it within the self, too. Doesn't just, go out there and plant trees, which is, the external factors, the external nature of our worship is important, too, but we have to do it internally, and we gain this connection to the divine through the external. Suddenly, everything that we see gains a more sacred light. And that's really what connects us to the 10. Up to this point, a lot of focus has been found on the external nature of things because that is the Earth suit. But the 10 is called wealth, and I'll talk about it in the next video because I'm pretty frozen right now. But the 10 really connects to our spiritual insight. Rather, the card gain, this one right here, is more so the idea of what most people would think of when they would think of wealth. Because this card is the card of abundance, of material abundance, where we are gaining more and more of our needs met. But the wealth card, even though it's called wealth, is really about the true beauty that's found when we achieve the truest goal of self-realization, and it can be said to be the card of self-realization. I'll talk about that card in the next video, so you can see it and everything. And I'll finish this one right now. So thank you all so much. Love you very much. And I will talk to you soon.